it's something interesting in the book that I'm doing. I'm calling it the curveball theory. You know, the curveball theory, where we are saying you're anticipating the ball to just run straight.
Yes.
And you're waking up every morning knowing that the ball will just run straight. Do you have room? Do you have provision that this ball might not run straight?
Yes.
Are you anticipating a point in time when the ball will come straight but get to a point and do a radical curve? And that radical curve might be there to hurt you. So much so that the question is, even on a daily basis, are we prepared for, curve balls?
Do you extend enough grace to yourself to understand that you're only human, you make mistakes, things can change, and not everything that's looking like it's meant to hurt you will not build you? Because also the Bible says that what the enemy thought was planned for evil, God planned for good. So you can't look at every problem as there to destroy you. Not everything is meant to destroy you. God allowed Job to be tested because he knew Job was never going to give up on God. So every problem will build you. It's just a matter of perspective. Glass half full?
Yeah, or half empty.
Just on this,
The time is really smiling, guys. Like there's subtitles you're missing down there. Like she's really happy.
No, I'm smiling just simply because. So the reason why I actually stood up was because I noticed we were down.
Okay.
So it's so interesting what you just said, which is things will happen.
Yeah.
Curveballs will exist.
Yes.
But it's more of one, how you respond to it, and two, how your perception, how you look at it. Is it half empty or half full?
Yeah.
So as I was listening to Cynthia, who had asked the question, because she logged back in immediately, and she kept on asking her colleagues, because I could hear her audio. Can you hear? Are you logged back in? And then you saying it's simply a matter of how you look at it, because it's how you respond. There's someone else who's probably chosen not to log back in because they're like, a lot's recording. But Cynthia, who's online right now, is very keen on understanding. Okay. Something happened, but I really want to hear the answer.
Yeah.
And to our audience, there's a recording after this, so don't worry. Again, I said these are teething problems. By the time we get to our 4th session, we'll have even purchased our own gadgets, so it's going to be a very easy situation.
And Pesa pay bill down there.
To the viewers, to the audience.
But I feel like Mr. Okenyo is too much of a senior for him to entertain pay bills at this point. And he keeps on saying,
there are no pay bills. There are no pay bills. Yeah, but again, to something more interesting. This is, I think, a takeaway that we are built every day. We are built every day by winning, by losing, by disappointments, by victories, by celebrations, all those things. I think that's very powerful. So that you do not just sit and expect things are going to be all rosy throughout. And I think in my 15 years in practice, it might not be a lot, but at least I'm sure it's also, it also counts for something, 15 years. There've been curveballs thrown on my way. And sometimes I say, I doubt whether other people would handle them. You understand? Sometimes I'm seated with younger colleagues, friends, and we're having a chat generally because it's my area of interest. So all the time I just want to hear something about, how is practice? How is it going? Then someone is crying and telling you, the whole of this week I've not seen a client. The whole of this month I've not seen a client. I feel like I'm, sliding into depression just because you've not had a client for a week or for 2 weeks.
What's grace period for? What's grace period
for? For what?
Grace period. What is it for? When you start a job, what's grace period for?
I
When someone says, I'm idle, God is like, oh really? Challenge accepted. Because then a time is coming when you'll be so busy you'll wish you were idle.
Yeah, you'll wish for that time.
So you've got to be very careful with the utterances out of your mouth. Be grateful for periods of rest, because after that is restoration. And when restoration comes, you are booked and busy.
Did you introduce Mimi as a pastor when you started off?
I am.
You need to say that.
Of faith.
She's a woman of faith and
we had this conversation, but we actually haven't listened to you because you stepped in as a leader where there was a vacuum, and kudos for you for doing that for me. Now we wanted to hear today, with this particular topic because we understand what we're trying to do as a bigger picture. What is your perspective of today's conversation as the host?
Okay, for me, largely, I've borrowed it from the aspect of, there's a whole conversation on social media about what colleagues are going through. It's either a suicide here, it's either, a mental breakdown, and all these things. And I keep asking myself, will it be that there is a general collapse of systems? Could it be a possibility that we are facing a moment, a shutdown moment, without really knowing what exactly is going on? Then I thought, why can't we just have a discussion centered on work-life balance? And even to me, I've just learned something, that work-life balance is not just about running away from work. You understand? Because for me, for so long, work-life balance sounds like anytime I'm not in the office, anytime I'm not engaging, in matters to do with files or clients, then that for me is work-life balance. But then I've gotten to see another perspective, a whole new perspective of, even the spiritual self. What are you putting in? What are you putting into your system in terms of spiritualism? For me, it's taken me aback. It's given me some challenge to sort of think of, okay, and when it comes to spiritualism or spirituality issues, where do I stand? And I know that on that one, I know I do not score very highly. Then of course now there are other issues like, watching your diet. You also talked about, physical activity, physical exercise. You also talked about something to do with, just generally being conscious and deliberate about small issues like time management. Those could be the issues that are giving you the breakdown. You are poor in time management. The end result to that is that everything else is, not falling into place. Things like your temperament. And a friend of mine tells me, my fuse, I've got a kissy fuse. And it's not just kissy. It is also from China. That it breaks.
That's a poor mentality.
Yeah. So I think that for me will sum up what is in my mind, or what was in my mind when you are coming up with this particular topic.